start getting prepared for the trade more right now. All right, so this is going to be recorded, guys. So this is I'm super excited to talk today about accountability. Accountability is crucial for our business. I don't care if you're in your first day in the business or if you've been here for 5 years. It is crucial to have accountability partners wherever you are, and I always recommend having an accountability partner with somebody that challenges you. Don't have an accountability partner with somebody that's way below you in the career. Have somebody that kind of challenges you, that kind of maybe intimidates you, or where you want to be at some point in your career. So today we're going to talk about accountability at all different levels in the business. So this is a recruiting and a training call. So this is going to be essentially, if you're brand new, this is going to be very good for you. And it's also going to be really good if you have a team. So if you're starting to build your team, one of the most crucial things about our business is building leadership, building leaders below you. And it is extremely hard to build leaders below you if you don't hold them accountable. Guys, holding people accountable is not always fun, but it is a must. Okay, could you imagine any sports franchise if they didn't hold their players accountable? Okay, they would never grow, they would never get better, right? The most efficient teams are the ones that hold their coaches accountable. They hold their trainers and then their players accountable. It kind of starts from the top, goes all the way down to the very bottom. So today we're going to talk about, just the drivers of discipline and what gets people really motivated. We're also going to talk about some accountability questions that you can ask yourself and ask your team to make sure that you're holding them accountable. And then we're going to kind of wrap it up with a quick little exercise on you kind of finding out your accountability partner, whoever that may be, and writing down some things that you need to hold yourself accountable to, and something that you want other people to hold you accountable to as well. So guys, this is going to be a pretty in-depth. This call could probably take, honestly, 3 hours, but I'm going to try to claim it down in about 20 minutes. I got tons of notes. I probably won't be able to cover all the notes that I have. If you guys can see my page, you can write as much as you possibly can. That would be nice as well. So if you're a sales agent or a team leader, you always have certain goals that you want to hit. So we just started Q4. We have our income goals that we're trying to hit for the fourth quarter. We have our GAP or NAP goals. We have the amount of demos that we're trying to hit each week. And if you have a team, you have your team goal, right? If you set goals for somebody else, those goals usually aren't met because they're not personal. Okay, you got to set your own personal goals. Don't let somebody else set your goals for you. That's rule number one. Okay, you need to set your own goals. And if you have a team, don't set goals for your team. Let them set their own goals because they have to fully buy in. Because if you set goals for somebody else, they will not buy in. Okay, and if you want somebody to go above and beyond, the motivation has to come from within, not the company's bottom line. Okay, how many of you guys know what my goal for Schneider Agencies is this year? Probably nobody, because I know that won't motivate you guys to go out there and produce premium. Okay, but you guys know your own personal goals, and I know your own personal goals. Okay, and then I have my own personal goal within myself and then within our agency as well. Okay, so let's talk about your vision. Okay, because if you don't go to work, it's most likely because you have lost your vision. You've forgotten how to dream big and set big goals. You may need constant encouragement to push yourself year after year. So it's really important to have an accountability partner to help you meet those goals. You guys, I don't care what industry you're in. If you sell supplemental insurance with Family Heritage, or you're a professional athlete, or you're a musician, everybody has that is, self-employed. Everybody's got accountability partners to push them. Okay, the best of the best, they all have. Think about how many accountability partners LeBron James has. He has an accountability partner for his eating habits, his workout, his film review. He's got an accountability partner for probably every single cycle of his life. You don't have to have that much accountability here to be successful, but you do need to have at least one good accountability partner. Okay, so let's cover real quick. This is just the very basics of the drivers of motivation. Okay, the 8 drivers of discipline. So when you're thinking about, what really ticks for you, it's going to be one of these 8 things. So I talk about this in my second interview every single day. There's different things that motivate different kinds of people. What motivates you? I'll give them a few examples. Okay, so Here are the 8 drivers for discipline or motivation. Number 1 is a thing. People are motivated by the ability to earn and pay for things like a car, a house, a watch, a boat, whatever it is. Okay, people are very motivated by things. Some people are very motivated by events, such as a wedding, graduation, birth of a new baby, or being in shape for summer. Number 3, some people are very motivated by a place, visiting places that inspire us. This can be the incentive trip that we're going to Mexico here in 2 weeks. We're taking our family on a vacation. Number 4 is a status. It's a very powerful driver for certain individuals. And this could be just elevating somebody's opinion about you or about your self-worth. It could be a promotion, getting to field director, getting to market director, regional, or being debt-free, or becoming a millionaire. There's several things that can be put under the status section. Number 5, it could be a trophy. People love recognition. Okay, recognition for your accomplishments, being part of the President's Club, right? Being a top producer, getting up on stage, getting your green jacket for I Dare You in front of the entire company. That's a trophy, a recognition for your hard work. Being in the Hall of Fame for sports, that's huge, right? People love that. Okay, number 6 is a gift. A gift. Okay, that could be a gift for somebody else or for yourself. It could be buying an engagement ring. It could be paying for a private school, college. Okay, those are some very powerful motivators. Number 7 is a person. Never underestimate the powerful force of earning another person's respect. It could be your parents, your boss, peers, children, or a competitor. People love hearing "attaboy, great job, man." People love hearing that from certain people that really make a difference. And number 8 is a legacy. Because at some point, some of these previous ones we talked about will lose their appeal, and you shift towards wanting our lives to have counted for something, not just for yourself, but for your kids and grandkids. We always talk about building generational wealth, building a mountain of cash, residual income for you and your family, living a legacy for your family. And if you pass away, it goes to your kids or grandkids for the rest of your life, as long as those policies are in force. So some people, when they've already kind of done well for themselves, their biggest motivator, their driver is the legacy, right? So I want you right now, think about which one of those stand out the most to you. You know, circle 1 or 2 of those that are like, yep, that's definitely one, that's definitely one. Okay, and if you don't know, have a conversation later on with your direct leader about this. And guys, what's very important is that you let your leadership group know what these are for you. Because there's a high chance they may have forgotten. They may not know what your biggest motivators are. I want to know. If you're in Schneider Agencies, I want you to text me which one of those 8 is a good fit for you. I'm going to save it, okay? Because I want to know what makes you tick, what strikes your emotional chord, okay? So those are the 8 drivers of discipline, guys. So let's kind of go through the next part. This is pretty cool. So I literally had a meeting with Gina Parker, my sales coach, yesterday, and talked about weekly business reviews and how to have those the best way, how to actually have. And she was telling me about one of the people that she teaches has a team of over 300 people. It's not in our kind of field. I was like, man, that's a huge team. And she was like, yep. But the thing is, Kyle, if you want to scale up to be that big, you have to have people that can hold people accountable at the highest of levels. You can't do it for 300 people. You can maybe do it for 5 to 7. And then those people got to do it for 5 to 7. They kind of keep scaling all the way on down, right? So here are the very basic, if you're trying to, let's say you have a team of 2 or 3 people right now, or 1 person. These are accountability questions that you can ask your team when you meet with them once a week. So guys, it is very important. If you're an agent here, you need to have a weekly business review with your trainer, with your manager. Okay, I do 3 weekly business reviews every week. CJ, Brandy, and Caitlin. I'm probably going to add a couple other people to that here pretty soon as well. Okay, you guys, it's very important to have a very set time when you meet with these people. It's a 15 to 20-minute meeting, and it's straight business. Okay, you don't do a whole lot of catching up about personal stuff. That's what you do outside of weekly business reviews. This is a straight business chat, and it's imperative that we have these so we can review your goals and go over them and making sure that you're on track to hit your goals for the week and for the quarter, for the month, and for the year. Okay. So these are some great questions, because the last thing you want to do is ask questions that help the people get defensive. So a bad question to ask is, why didn't you hit your goal? Why didn't you work more? Those are very, very bad questions to ask when you're trying to get people to open up about their goal setting sessions. Okay, so here are 3 questions that you essentially need to ask when you're running a weekly business review with your team. Okay, 3 very basic questions. Number 1 is, do you remember what your goal was? Do you remember what your goal was? It could be for the week or for the month. Do you remember what your goal was for the week? For example, on here it says, do you remember what your lead goal was for October? Do you remember what your NAP goal was for October? Number 2 question is, do you remember what you actually achieved? Do you remember what you achieved? How many leads did you actually get in October? Or how much NAP did you actually sell in the month of October? That's number 2. Number 3, this is the last question is, well, what can you do in the next 30 days to hit that goal? What can you do in the next 30 days to hit that goal? To make sure that you get those 10 leads, to sell at least 20,000 of NAP. I understand you only did 5,000 in October, but what can you do this next month in November to sell 20,000? So there's 3 questions. Do you remember what your goal was? Do you remember what you actually achieved? What can you do? And guys, just know this. If they're not hitting their goal, it's most likely from activity or skills. Ask them, is there anything that you need help from me to help you hit that goal? If you have a team, that's a great little thing to kind of throw in there. Is there anything that you need help from me to help you hit your goal? Okay, so guys, if you're trying to run a weekly business review, that's kind of like the basic outline. Okay, you should have their goals, right there in front of you. You should have their stats or their legacy stat site right there. You can look and see what they've done, what their goals are, what they've actually accomplished, look at their activities. You definitely don't want to bash them. Be like, hey man, you said you're going to work 45 hours last week. You only worked 37. You said you're going to do 30 demos. You only did 19. Why didn't you work more? That's kind of like the worst way to go about it, because people do get very defensive. Okay, so this is a very casual way to do it. Okay, so let's talk about the common denominator of success for a little bit. This is by a book by Albert Gray. I think that every person has probably heard of this at some point. This is what the book looks like. It's awesome. It takes about 30 minutes to read. And what Albert Gray says is, any resolution or decision you make today has to be made again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, and the next, and so on, which is why accountability is so important. Accountability is having someone in your life who constantly checks in with you and asks, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? It's powerful. Having a personal trainer works because we don't feel like going to the gym. We're just not going to go. But if we pay $125 per session up front before you go, then you're going to go even when you don't feel like it, because you're not going to waste that much money. So to have a good accountability system, there's 4 requirements to have a good accountability system. So here's those 4 requirements. Number 1, to have a good accountability system, there must be pain or cost associated with inaction. There must be pain or cost associated with inaction. And you got to help yourself or your team members decide on what that could be. It could be different for each person. Dylan Buck, we heard him talk yesterday on the call. His cost is his wife won't cook him dinner until he got 6 demos in. Until he got his 6th demo, he would not get his wife to cook him dinner. That is a perfect thing that we could do to ourselves. Tell your significant other, tell your husband, tell your wife, I can't eat dinner tonight until I get my 6 demos. I promise you, you're going to make sure you get your 6 demos in before 5 p.m. Number 2, there must be 360 degrees of accountability. That means you have a responsibility to hold your team members accountable. Other kinds of people holding them accountable should include, it could be a subordinate or a mentee who looks up to them, a spouse, a colleague. Getting your spouses involved is huge. Your significant other, getting them involved to hold you accountable. Guys, the best people that can hold you accountable is your spouse, 100%. Okay, tell them your goals. Make sure they hold you accountable to different things. They influence your decisions tremendously. Okay, it helps you take action. I remember Dylan talked about he only had 5 demos, and Courtney said, "Well, I'm not going to cook you dinner until you get your 6." What did Dylan go do? He went and got a 6th demo, right? Number 3, accountability must be regular and reliable in order for it to work. Accountability must be regular and reliable. Guys, just like we've heard, success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. Well, guys, accountability is the same thing. It must be reliable. Consistency is key. Your team member can't check in every once in a while and get the best results. It needs to be on a consistent schedule that you've worked out together. So that's why weekly business reviews are so important to our business, guys. Having a set time at Wednesday, 9 a.m., me and CJ Clark have our weekly business review. When is your weekly business reviews with you and your agents on your team, or with you and your trainers? If you don't have one, reach out to them and get a time scheduled. Okay, number 4, accountability should come from someone who can give perspective. So you want your team members to have accountability in yourself. You want to be accountable with somebody who challenges you. Okay. So let's say that if you're in the top 100 in the company in sales, you don't want to have an accountability partner for somebody who is ranked number 300 or 400 in the company, right? You want to have an accountability partner who is challenging you to be the best version of yourself. Top performers should have an accountability of another top performer. Okay, you need to strive to get better and be a student of the game. Okay, so here's some other fun things, and then we'll kind of wrap up after this. So 9 practices to create a culture of accountability. Okay, so let's say that you have your very first team member on your team right now, like they just got out of sales school within the last couple of weeks. Here are just 9 basic things that you can to help you hold your team members accountable and promoting the right practices. Because you want to have a culture, guys. You don't want to have a culture of micromanagement. There's a difference between micromanagement and accountability. There's a huge difference there. Accountability is not micromanagement. Guys, every successful person, every athlete that plays in the NFL or the NBA, they have accountability partners. There's a humongous difference between micromanagement and accountability. We are not teaching you guys to be micromanagers. We don't have the time to do that. So this can make the culture more light, more fun, and more exciting. So number 1, if you want to have a great culture of accountability, here are some 9 things that you can do. Number 1 is compliment the people on your team who are doing things right. So when you guys have agents who are out there crushing it, doing the 2 out of 3 every day, doing the 3 out of 3, compliment them like, hey, dude, you're doing a great job. Tell them both in private and in public, because verbal affirmation is very important in our business. Number 2, spend time with everyone on your team outside of work hours with no business agenda. Just like what Van did with his Virginia crew. They went out to eat last night. We went to Stars and Stripes in Columbia a couple weeks ago. Being able to spend time with your team outside of work hours. I don't care if you have 1 person on your team, guys. Take that 1 person out to a Mexican restaurant, whatever it is, outside of work hours. Get to know them, get to know their family, their interests, right? Is building that relationships. Number 3, help team members who are struggling to clarify their vision, because their endurance is directly proportionate to the clarity of their vision. So here, I don't have this module pulled up right here in front of me, but it's one that I did about a year ago. It's called the 20 What's to Find Your Why. So it's like a vision module that you can do that finds your vision. Like, hey, what are you working for? What is a famous person that you want to meet? What is the biggest thing that you want to do? Like, if there's 1 person that you can meet, past, present, or future, who would that be? if there was one person you could be like, what are some goals? What are some places you want to go see? They ask great questions on that vision module like that. So it's always good, guys. We always talk about having a vision board. It's very important to do stuff like that and have that stuff accessible, like have it, right there in front of you. Number 4, challenge your team members to accomplish something that's never been done before. Challenge your team, get them excited about, guys, next week's a Traymore. It's the perfect time to set up a new goal. How good can we do? Breaking belief barriers. Hey man, your best week ever is 13,000. Do you want that to be the best week in the history of your career? Or dude, you can do way better than that. What about 20K? How would you feel if you did 20K next week? How would you feel if you did 25, 30K? Breaking belief barriers, guys. Other people are doing it, so can you. Number 5 is focusing on promoting and recognizing activity and behaviors rather than just results. So number 5 is focusing on promoting and recognizing activity and behaviors rather than just results. Okay. Emphasizing habits rather than production. We always talk about don't put pressure on yourself, put pressure on the system. Number 6, having honest conversations with an underperformer about how they are not hitting their goals and create a plan to get them on track. Because that is not always easy. It is not always easy to confront an underperformer, having those tough conversations about how they're not hitting their goals and creating a plan to get them on track. But it is imperative. If you want to grow a business here, you must be doing that. Okay. Remember, you can provide any level of accountability as long as you're willing to provide a stronger level of empathy. Number 7, apologize to someone who you have wronged. Maybe somebody that you told them you're going to do something with them. Hey man, I'm going to spend all day with you tomorrow out in the field. Something came up, apologize to them. Remember, you cultivate freedom from perfection among your team members. Number 8, collect in writing from each person a list of the goals they are committed to doing in the next year and have them sign it and put it up on their wall. Collect in writing from each person a list of the goals they are committed to doing in the next year and have them sign it and put it up on the wall. That is powerful. And lastly, number 9, this is fun. Having a meeting where each person creates a vision board to make sure everyone keeps their goals visible. Hey, if you've ever done a vision board, say your name on this call right now. Say your name if you've done a vision board before.
Dan.
Renee.
Greg.
Avery.
Okay. So 4 people. Right on. I promise you though, there may be a couple others that doesn't speak up. The people that have done a vision board, none of them have ever said, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. Guys, vision boards are so fun. It's so awesome to do. You guys, that is something that's like an activity. It's like a great team activity that you should be able to do with your team. It's fun, okay? We're not going to talk too in depth about how to make a vision board right now, but here's the last thing, guys. So this is, I got this from my sales coach yesterday about just, having an accountability project that you can do. So if you could just write this down on your sheet of paper that you have, that you're taking notes on. So this is really the last part of the call right here. So, state your name. I, Kyle Schneider, agree to accomplish the following goals before blank. So before 2021, or whatever time frame you want to have, I, Kyle Schneider, agree to accomplish the following goals before 2020. It could be by this Saturday. Guys, it doesn't have to be a year. It could be 2 days from now. It could be by the end of the October selling month, which is, next Sunday before we go to Mexico. I also hereby do formally contract myself to these purposes. Okay, and write down those goals. Write down what you're shooting for by that certain time frame. Guys, it could be getting 12 demos in between today and tomorrow. It could be riding an eagle next week by the end of next Traymore. It could be to finish the month of October over 20,000 of NAP. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. You know, it could be doing 20 fit modules. It could be mastering my buying atmosphere by the end of the weekend, word for word, where there's not one syllable off. Whatever it is, right? Write that down and have a set time that you're going to have this done by. And then right here, it says, in support of this goal, I will undertake the following activities. So, and then just write down 5 activities that you're going to be doing in order to make sure that you crush that goal. It could be study for 30 minutes, your sales talk, your buying atmosphere every single day for 30 minutes for the next 5 days. It could be if you want to sell 20,000 this month or 30,000 this month, because it's a double NAP month, I'm going to do this amount of demos every single day, every day, today, tomorrow, all 5 days next week. I'm going to start every day by 7:30 a.m., whatever it is, right? Just write down 5 things that you're definitely going to do, sign your name, and then write down your accountability partner. If you don't have an accountability partner, that's okay. Write down your agency owner and your direct leader, because they would love to see this. I guarantee you, if you text Van this, he's not going to get upset. He's going to be super excited to see this, what your goals are and what you're going to do to hold yourself accountable by a certain time, and then date it, and then have a reward. The last 2 things is have a reward for achieving this goal. Like, hey, so by doing this, I'm going to buy myself a plane ticket to Denver to go snowboarding in December if I hit this. Whatever it is, right? I'm going to go take my wife to the beach for a weekend. I'm going to go to that concert I want to go. That Wicked concert that everybody's talking about here in Charlotte that's going on right now, that Sarah really wants to go to. It could be anything. Going to a Carolina Panthers game. And the consequences for not achieving the goal is also important. That's the very last thing. Consequences for not achieving the goal. If you don't do X, Y, Z, what are your consequences? You're not going to go to the concert. Whatever it is for you. So guys, hopefully that helps. So guys, this is, I can also email this module out for you guys. So you guys can have this, you know, in your own inbox. Look at it some more. But guys, this is a part that definitely is not just can be covered in 30 minutes, but hopefully you guys have the fundamentals of accountability and why it's important. The 8 drivers, you know, we talked about the 8 drivers of accountability, why people are motivated. Write down what motivates you, those 8 things. There's the 3 questions that we talked about, that if you have a team, there's 3 basic questions that you can ask them to hold them accountable. That it's the elementary version of accountability. We can definitely expand off that. There's definitely some more digging in questions that we can also add in, but I wanted to keep it super simple. And then also the 9 factors of having a great culture of accountability within your organization, within you and your team. 9 things that you can do to help make it light, so it's not micromanagement, it's accountability. There's a big difference. So hopefully you guys learned some stuff. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to pipe up.
Kyle, I just thought it was a great topic, man. I hope you are able to email that stuff out as well afterwards.
Totally. I would definitely email it over as long as I can hold you accountable to reading it by a certain time. Does that sound good, Josiah?
Yeah, I already texted Todd and asked him to set up a Zoom for tonight to go over everything together.
Perfect. Hey, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Way to take action, man.
That's awesome, guys. This stuff that Kyle's talking about, I mean, it's a little extra work on the front end, but man, it's kind of like, so is working out. It's work on the front end, so that when you show up in Mexico, you can look rock solid with a great beach bod versus, not versus the opposite. So you get out of it what you put into it, whether it's our business or whether it's your life. So Kyle, thanks for a great